Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way.
Welcome to Night After Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I am Lisa Fernandes, and
I am Christopher Jayawardena.
We recorded this episode weeks before the death of Fred Willard, and we just wanted to say that his work is incredible. He has a beautiful legacy behind him, and we will miss seeing him on our screens.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's many projects, going back through his filmography. There's even projects I had seen him in that I forgot he was even in there, like in Salem's Lot. I forgot he was in that. He's definitely one of those memorable character actors, and especially in this episode, he gave a wonderful performance, and we do talk about it, obviously, but
Yes.
but we just wanted to, give our special little shout out to know that, we're gonna miss you, Fred. You were good people. You were one of our favorite guests on this show, and one of the favorite actors to see in the movies. So here's hoping you're making folks laugh up there.
All of this. And we are here with Dog Days Blind Dates, Season 1 episode. It was directed by James Burrows, who is a total sitcom legend. You've seen his work if you have watched literally any sitcom that's been made in the last roughly 30 years. He's everywhere. He has done everything. He is a total legend. The episode was written by Dale McRaven. And the plot goes like this. Laverne's new regular date, Charles, whom Shirley disapproves of for wearing a pinky ring, sets Shirley up with his cousin Buck, an Arizona-bred poetry-writing cowboy with a suspicious-looking suitcase. The two head out on a double date to the pizza bowl with the men, and while they both seem charming initially, it turns out that they have ulterior motives. Buck plants a bomb in the men's room of the pizza bowl to break into the neighboring bank, leaving the girls, and Lenny and Squiggy, who were staying behind slightly after hours to finish the game they were playing, hostages when the police arrive. The boys and girls then engage in a battle of wits and fisticuffs to get an opportunity to seize the day. What do you think of this one?
This was a blast, and
Yeah.
I love this for multiple reasons. I love that it's a great use of the physical comedy with the dialogue comedy. The zingers are fantastic throughout. It's great to see the gang of four. This is one of the episodes you really get to see Laverne, Shirley, Lenny, and Squiggy, all four really get to interact a bunch.
Yeah.
Dude, Fred Willard.
Fred Willard was the first point I was going to make. Fred Willard.
Oh, I'm sorry for stealing your thunder on that, because, God, that's a point to make.
God, he's great in this. He is great in this. He is really funny. And this is one of his very first roles. Everybody knows he goes on to go and star in several of Christopher Guest's comedies. And he's just funny in this. He's more straight man-ish, to kind of contrast with the wacky adventures of everybody else. But he's very good. This is very good performance.
Yeah, I'd like to think that he's like the nephew of the character he played in Anchorman, Because in Anchorman, his character always has that son, right? That he's on the phone talking about. It's like Junior, stop! Stop! You need to let the hostages go. And he puts down the phone. Sorry about that. And I can just imagine that this is the nephew doing other bullshit that his own father is doing. Is very, very upset with him.
Yeah, you can envision it at this point. Yeah, the interesting thing about this episode, when you really think about it, is Shirley's trying very, very hard to be sensible here. She's trying really hard to be sensible and going, there's something wrong with this man. I don't know what's wrong with this man, but he's very charming, so I'm just going to kind of turn off my brain and just kind of go with the flow, and he's cute, and he's nice, and he's taking me bowling, and his suitcase is strange, but I'm just going to ignore that, and everybody just ignores it until boom. Literal boom.
Mm-hmm.
And Squiggy has a great line. Boy, he needed to go bad.
I love
still
that.
A good line.
Oh, so good.
That's still a great line. Yeah, this is one of the very first episodes where you get to spend time with our four principals, and they're together in a group and forced to work together. And the dynamics are interesting in various ways. They are not fully developed. They will develop somewhere past High Neighbors into what they become throughout the series. But here, I love how little little details, the interaction, like Shirley refusing to lie down next to Lenny on the floor. For some reason that she never explains, the show never explains, she's never that adverse to him again afterwards. But she just will not lie down on the floor next to him, and he just says, it doesn't matter. Who cares? We're gonna die.
Right.
And they go boy, girl. She's next to him. She's not next to him. She manages to avoid being next to him for a little bit, and then she's next to him again anyway.
Right.
And they're standing up. So
I feel like in some respects what it is that it's the, my feeling about Shirley, as I've discussed with you, is that there's always this sense that she has to have some semblance of control of a situation.
Yeah.
And it felt like that was the only way that she had any semblance of having agency in the situation, was just to deny the person that was going to sit next to her. That was like her only option.
Yeah, that's the only option. And to keep Laverne from going in the bathroom and doing one of the boys.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That told us well, we got 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is I love how, like, this is a PG-13 episode very much. And it's because you got your elements of danger, you got your elements of sex, you got your elements of comedy and banter and stuff that's got those little extra oomph. I mean, there's some very sweet and childlike episodes at times. Like I know there's another one that comes up pretty soon, but this one's smack dab in that little range, and I love how it uses it. Yeah.
This isn't as adult as we will get down the line. This isn't playing the Roxy. This isn't like this isn't even the bachelor party episode that we just watched, but it is up. It's kind of like mid-level. Yeah, it's kind of, you get the violence, you get the threat of the girls possibly being killed, and you get the possibility of them just going in the bathroom and going for it.
Right, exactly.
That's the ultimate question now, kids. Would you go through eternity linked with Lenny and Squiggy? That's the ultimate question.
All of the other it is as important a question as Picard or Kirk.
That this fandom, this is the Picard or Kirk question. That basically is, except when you go deeper into California years and you get asked further questions, and that's coming. It's coming, children.
Oh no.
Gird yourselves.
Oh no. Okay. See, folks at home, I didn't get an evil laugh. I'm feeling fine now. I'm feeling fine. I feel safe. I feel secure. I'm now Kermit frowning because I decided to open my big trap. Okay.
Nuns with pickles.
Oh, God. Anyway, so the other thing I found absolutely hilarious with this episode was the cowboy with a suitcase. That is an amazing little character that I love how distinctive and layered he is. And when I went back and rewatched the episode to make sure that, we watched it together and then come back to just see if there's anything I missed, and seeing how consistent his details are, like how he doesn't want anybody around because he doesn't want anybody around when the bomb goes off because, he knows what's going to happen if he kills anybody. Yep. Which is, and you would think, just to quickly say, you would think that's a moral issue, but given that he's totally fine with shooting hostages, my suspicion is it more has to do with he knows that killing somebody with the bomb is gonna, get him the chair, basically. Yeah.
So if the cops, or if they just shoot him and there's a hostage thing, that there's kind of like a tiny bit of loop where, they made me do it. You're next to them with a bomb, you blow them up. It's basically terrorism. Bye-bye. Even back in the 60s.
Right.
Which is we're still in the 50s here.
We're still in the 50s. We're still in the 50s. The Weatherman Underground is still about a decade away.
There's an episode. Well, it's coming. It's coming. There's an episode. It's coming.
Well, that will be interesting.
Season 8. Buck is hilarious for multiple reasons. First of all, he's this guy who was met Charles in a dirty bookstore. And the two of them decide to plan a robbery together. They clearly zoom in on Laverne, saying, she's this guy's daughter. She could probably get us access into this restaurant that's right next to the bank. And they go through all this planning, and they still screw it up. Mm-hmm. They are still, basically in the words of Lenny and Squiggy, worse crooks than they are, so to speak.
What is it? Clearly crime doesn't pay. Well, yeah, not the way they do it.
Not the way I do it. I love that line, too. That's also a great line.
Yep.
That's also a great line.
Yeah. I also enjoy, I think this is another reason why I really adored this episode. This is one of my favorites I think we've gone through so far, is that you get to see a lot of spunk from all these characters, it truly shows that spunk is not dead, when you see Laverne. Nah, sorry, I had to hit you with that one. Anyway, but when Laverne...
Buy the DVD, children. Buy the DVD.
But when seeing Laverne take out Charles with a nice good little elbow, and then get the gun.
You're tired. You're yearning. You're poor. You're gone.
Yeah, I love that. It just because I feel like one of the problems I find with a lot of sitcoms is that the characters, especially protagonists, don't feel very in control of the wild situations that are happening. I find it funnier when they are in situations where they can control it and they do something either hilarious or fun, basically. Yeah. This allows the episode to be fun and not feel like it's constantly having to get a laugh out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like being manipulated by the plot, so to speak. Laverne goes, hey, I'm going to do this. And so she tells Shirley that she might die doing this. Mm-hmm. But she's going to do it to try to save her life and save the boys' lives. And she finally admits that the boys are her friends in this episode. Even though she'll walk that back in a few episodes, but then she'll walk it forward again. Because there is actual character development that will happen in this sitcom. You just have to wait for it. Mm-hmm. Wait for it beneath the goofiness. Wait for it. That's coming.
But yeah, and I also love how Shirley is able to figure out that something's up with the ring in particular, because obviously that becomes by I would figure by the time the show came around, the pinky ring was pretty much clearly a sign of the mafia. Especially this is post Godfather. It's you get the sort of vibe, and then there's that question that she says is like, where is he getting all this money from? Where is he getting the money for all these things he's doing? And so those like elements that, it makes it really engaging. I mean, I don't know how deeply we've talked about this on the show so far, but I mean, I'm more of a dramatic writer than a comedy guy. And so it's always nice to see those little details that me, a narrative person, gets to go, yes, tasty treat. Kind
of hooks you into it, kind of charms you into it, so to speak. There's like a really good bit here, like I said earlier, where the girls talk about living for the moment. This is what the episode is basically about. We saved it for nothing. I wanted to have a baby, poor Shirley goes and says. And it's interesting how they decide, heck yeah, I'm going to start living after this is over. And then as the show goes on, they kind of do this and kind of don't do this, and they kind of castigate themselves for not doing this. And it's an interesting sort of starting point for the kind of development they're going to go through and end up somewhere around season 7. They're looking back on everything they've done at the cusp of being 30 and going, wow, in a way, this is what we've accomplished. This is how far we've come, and yet we haven't come far at all.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, the show gets kind of like heavy around season 6 or 7. People kind of stomp on the California years for various reasons, and it's kind of like ridiculous. They really should have gone to New York and not ended up in California. I will say that there's some interesting stuff that happens character-wise there.
Do you feel like that kind of relates to? Do you feel like it relates to where it kind of is starting to go in this particular episode? Like, do you see any signs of that?
There are little tiny hints that I'm sure they weren't thinking that far ahead. I'm pretty sure at season 1 they weren't like thinking, we're going to run 7 to 8 seasons and we're going to end up this far ahead of this far ahead of the game. But you can kind of see where they're defining the girls and how they're defining the girls. Mm-hmm. Shirley has this more traditional dream, and she's sad that she made Carmine wait in a way.
Right.
She's sad that he's waited so patiently. I still love that line too. There's a lot of really good lines in this episode.
Oh yeah, well, like the
absolutely.
Yeah, there's some great lines. I mean, just exchanges in this are really across the board from all the characters you get to interact with are hysterical. Like I love when Lenny and Squiggy are first seen, they're playing that driving game in the pizza bowl, and it's like, hey, you ran over that cow. No, that wasn't a cow. That clearly was a school bus. It gave me Cruising USA flashbacks.
I know more about driving than you do. I have more tickets and everything.
I think so. That's great. And then I love and like the little bit from Pop where it's, because it's the moment when you see that, okay, Frank is clearly, he really wants the business. The business is kind of in some ways everything. He loves Laverne. He loves his daughter. Yeah. And then when he sees her with the date and the date's kind of going well and the guy looks like he's doing fine, he kicks everybody out immediately. It's just like, all right, everybody out. Yep. Everybody out. Go home.
Grandkids.
Yep, exactly.
You see those grandkids in the future.
Yep.
That becomes both something that becomes a drive for his character going forward in the series, and something that provides a bone of contention for the two of them to struggle over for the next 5-6 seasons. It's going to be touching in some ways. It's going to be sad in some ways. It's going to be funny in some ways. There's a whole episode about how desperate, and how he's so desperate to get her be married off and to have a kid that she has this dream about it. And there's
oh boy,
there's a whole thing that we'll analyze that one when we get there. The season's away.
I'm assuming it's not as upbeat as the final scene of Raising Arizona.
It's it's funny at least.
Okay, funny is good.
It's fatphobic as hell, but we'll get there. We'll get there. That's awesome. We're gonna sell the T-shirt. We'll get there.
So because I feel like we've been going back and forth. Is there anything that you felt coming back to this episode, anything that always stands out to you that you feel doesn't get enough attention when people discuss the first season?
Gosh, let me think. Honestly, the timing is so good in this episode. It's really good. The way all four of our principals just bounce off of one another. And considering what it was like in the writer's room, what it was like, on the set all week. Now, a lot of that is just chemistry.
Yeah.
A lot of that's just
definitely
them looking at each other and going, let's do it in a lot of ways. But the chemistry is really good, really strong, and so is the dialogue's good in this one. Really good. When you consider where we end up in some episodes, this is masterful in a lot of ways, and kind of underrated. But this episode is fairly popular in the fandom, I'd say.
Nice. That's good to hear, because I really, again, it's another episode that I could see being extended into a full feature film with these characters, because they are strong enough to carry it for a good 90 minutes, and in some respects, even the whole hostage situation clearly has that aspect of Petrified Forest, which I finally watched for the first time recently.
Gosh, I haven't seen that in a long time, but I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It is very good.
Really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's come for the Laverne and Shirley. Stay for the classic movie recommendations.
Come for the movie analysis. Somehow we'll end up circling back to Evil Dead and professional wrestling. We'll get there.
Oh. Hey, it's your show. I just work here.
It's our show. It's our show. It's our show. But yet, what I was going to bring up is that it's very interesting in this episode how Shirley kind of is more wise to the ways of men than Laverne. They were going to pass this baton back and forth when it comes to being smart to what guys do, what some jerks will try to do, the way some evil men will do horrible things. But they pass that wiseness baton back and forth between the two of them. And in this case, Shirley has it. And she's looking at Laverne going, you keep going out with these guys. You don't know who the heck they are. In a lot of ways. Because she's been dating Charles for I think 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks.
That's the line.
And she's like, you don't really know this guy. And that comes up again, I think, in next episode, because she keeps picking up these guys. No, this comes up in Dating Slump. This comes up in Dating Slump. This is in a couple more episodes. She brings it up, and Laverne's just like, well, hey, basically, it's a cute guy. I'm gonna go for it. And that's pretty much the ethos that drives her, and for the whole series, and eventually results in her Flanderization. They go really, really way too hard on it by season 6 and season 7, and it gets nasty in a way. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
By the way, do you want to explain for anyone who might be listening, just like especially like say older fans that aren't as up on TV tropes about what Flanderization means? I just realized I've been thinking about that. That's been bugging me.
Yes. Yeah. Flanderization is the process of taking a character that's more complex and three-dimensional and just boiling them down over time to only a few traits. And just hammering hard on those traits. Like, it comes from the character of Ned Flanders, who was introduced on The Simpsons as this nice guy who's religious and happy and kind to the point where he kept on annoying the heck out of Homer. And eventually he became a religious fundamentalist to the point where he would let his children suffer with the flu to the point where they were seeing God, because he didn't want to give them medicine because Jesus.
Right.
Which early season Ned would never do.
Right, exactly. Oh, God, I actually do remember that episode. That was terrifying. Oy.
Mommy? I think he says mommy because this is after his mother died. I think that's what Rod says. But I can't remember.
Jeez.
It reminds me of
Anyway.
the Simpsons conversation I had on Twitter with Allison. Shout out to Allison. About what modern Simpsons has done to the show versus what it used to be like. It used to be very good, kids. As anybody will tell you.
And long ago, it was very good.
It was moving. I used to dream about working there. It was important.
I bet. Yeah.
It was important, yeah. As someone who always related to Lisa Simpson, yeah.
Yeah.
But back onto the topic. Back to the other kind of sitcom here.
Right.
But yeah, this is an excellent episode. This is a damn good episode. You need to look up this episode, kids. This is one of the best of this season. If you're going to pick 4 episodes, get High Neighbors, get Bowling for Raspberries, and I'd probably toss on Once Upon a Rumor onto this pile. Mm-hmm. That would be my season 1 starter pack for anybody interested in the show, because that covers a lot of what the show does.
We'll make sure to write that down and make sure it's on our Twitter.
Jot it down, children. Jot it down. I'm gonna tweet that. You got that out. I will tweet that.
Awesome.
But yeah. Okay. Now, where would you rank this one?
Man, I gotta give this a solid 9, maybe 9.5. I mean, the only thing is just that the only point loss or point detraction I would say is there's a couple of awkward transitions from the commercial breaks, which means that I think they wrote it in such a way or blocked it in a certain way that I think it wasn't until the AD probably comes over and tells them, we timed the shot and we need to actually cut back and make sure that this is the commercial is going to come back at this point. So there's a couple of awkward points there, but otherwise, I mean, I love the character stuff in this. I love the theme. I love the comedy. I love the cops swarming the place. Frank is, just every character gets a moment, which I love, especially for sitcoms, because that's so rare. The background actors are even great. Like, I love the sailor on the phone when Frank grabs the phone and is like, all right, goodbye, and hangs it up.
That is a great little moment that I feel gets ignored. He's just standing there having a nice conversation, and Frank just grabs the phone and goes, goodbye, and hangs up. And it's good. Not only does that explain the character of Frank DeFazio in 3 gestures, it also is great background acting from the extra, and it's hilarious. It's really hilarious, really good, a really tiny little moment that really, really works.
Exactly. I kind of feel like in some respects what happened was that by focusing on this one location, they had all these days of shooting on one set that they were able to just really block it out, rehearse it, get the timing down, get the performances down, and just, get those details in there. And actually, I just realized I need to look up this episode and see if the actor who played Buck was in any of the 70s crime movies I've seen, because he looks damn familiar.
You mentioned Frank having a really good moment. His entire moment where he's on a bullhorn trying to comfort his daughter and comfort Shirley is really, really great. It's really, really funny. He's just annoyed that they kind of blew up his bathroom because he just put towels in. That was putting brand new towels, figures.
Right.
That's the one that ends up blowing up. And then the point after he's come and he's seen the girls and seen that they're all right, Laverne asks, "Have you seen the bathroom pop?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's out on the street." So, what are you gonna do? he has to have fantastic insurance, basically. Because, gosh, can you imagine? Actually, this contrasts what we know in episode 2, where Laverne is like petrified they're going to wreck the restaurant while she's running it. Because, you know, Frank has insurance this good. You know, whatever damage dorks like Lenny and Squiggy can do to your restaurant is going to be minor compared to the bathroom blowing up. So,
right.
Interesting dissonance there.
So, okay, so I looked up the actor. It's a hard to pronounce name. I'm actually going to pop this in. He is a 6th-generation Texan, born in 1944. I'm going to pop this to you over a private message so you can see that and wonder what.
I know. I remember the credits, and I couldn't pronounce his name either with the dark.
Yeah. So the best I'm going to try is Geach Cook. I think it is.
I think you might be on. I think you might be spot on there. I think that might be the right pronunciation.
So he was.
If we're wrong, please correct us, folks.
So he got to play a colonel in American Ninja, which I believe that's one of the Dudikoff films, isn't it? Mike Dudikoff. It's one of those I always saw the VHS box and never watched the movie. However, he was the TV pitchman in Joe Dante's Piranha. So that's always fun.
Things I didn't know. It's cool.
Yeah, so he also did a Lewis and Clark TV show in the early 80s, and he was on 3 episodes as a warden in Walker, Texas Ranger. Poor guy. And looks like his last role was in 2012, but he is still listed as alive on IMDb. And of course, as pretty much everyone was at this time in the 1980, he had one part in The Love Boat.
The interesting thing about The Love Boat and this cast is I think only David was on The Love Boat out of all of our main characters. I'm pretty sure David was on. I know Michael didn't do it. He was on Murder, She Wrote instead.
Oh,
playing yet another scummy lawyer. Playing yet another scummy executive, taking a break from doing a lot of scummy lawyer roles that he ended up picking up somewhere in the 80s and 90s. But I don't think anybody else from the show was on Love Boat. Maybe Cindy was on. I'll have to check. I'd have to check that.
Yeah, get that Venn diagram out, or that little family tree. It'd be the Van Shirley project. That is a deep Mystery Science Theater 3000 Master Ninja reference for anyone who
I haven't watched that episode in 4 centuries.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would rank this. This is a high 9 for me. This is such a good episode. It is funny. It's got tiny little bits of you got your pure comedy. You got your feels in here. You got your camaraderie between the girls. The girls will do anything for one another, and that is the point of the show deep down in the end. You got a little bit of your ship tease. Little tiny bits of ship tease. And you get some darn good guest actors. So ultimately, it's a nice package of great writing, great direction, great performances. So this is a high 9 for me. You should look it up. Very
cool. Yeah, is there anything else we want to cover? I mean, I guess it's the one downer with an episode that's kind of this nice and contained is there's only so far we can take it without just dissecting every little bit of blocking or something.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I could, well, you could, I was going to say, no, actually, no. I was actually going to bring up the fact that they have the boys are sitting there, they're playing the game. They don't get kicked out by Frank, which is what I thought was interesting. Frank can't get rid of them. And even the girls aren't going to step in and get rid of them, which I thought was funny. And then when Charles tries to do it, the girls intervene and go, no. Well, Laverne intervenes, basically, and goes, no, don't do that. They're my friends. And that's the first little hint, real little hint you get in the series that these guys aren't just these annoying, basically perverts who have been bugging them since they were, teenagers. Before that, they've known them since they were, 6 years old. If you want to go with we were kicked out of the Brownies, I've known you since I was roughly 6. There's an interesting canon that's coming up in about season 3, where we find out that Laverne's mother died when Laverne was young, but before she met Shirley. But it was definitely in Milwaukee.
Wow.
Because her body's buried in Milwaukee. So she had to have died around when she was 4 or 5, and then they met when they were in grade school, and that's where they also met the boys, and that's where they also met Carmine, and probably Fonzie. So, which is interesting if you really think about it.
Right, because I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what you mean is, I guess if I'm understanding correctly, it's you're pointing out a thought similar to mine, which is that if Laverne has any sort of misgivings about the situation about the evening, because it is a little weird for a cowboy to decide, well, I've never been to the big city, I want to go bowling.
In your little restaurant.
In the middle of a restaurant. And I almost kind of wonder, like, does she keep them around because she has this weird, like, little tick in the back of her head saying maybe Shirley's right, maybe something's up. And
yeah.
And so I wonder, because again, I'm coming from that dramatic writing perspective, because that's the kind of motivation that I would be working with in most of like the noir and horror stories that I write.
It's either that or she genuinely is trying to protect them on some level because she doesn't want them to get beaten up. She doesn't want them to get hurt, but she also doesn't want them there because she thinks she's going to be on this fabulous date. But she's not. Oops.
Right.
Such is life.
Yep.
Such is life in sitcoms.
Comedy is situational. You run into situations that are comedic for the audience and very terrible for you. Yeah. So.
Living is hard. Comedy is easy. They'll say the opposite, but no. We all know the opposite is true.
God.
All right. Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, but cool. Awesome. Well, I guess. Do you think that's all for today?
Yeah, I think that's all for this episode.
All right.
Buy it. Go see it. You can't buy these episodes individually, so you're going to have to watch them on Logo, or you're going to have to try to buy the DVD sets. Go buy these DVD sets, kids.
Yeah, support physical media. Support physical media. Support physical media. I'm very passionate about physical media. That's literally
the only way to get them. This is just the saddest thing. You can only watch the show on Logo, or you can buy the DVDs. They don't have these individually available for purchase. They do not have them on streaming anywhere. And come on, CBS. Come on, CBS.
I wonder if they're holding... God, you got to figure, like, are they holding out for high-def transfers or something? Because I don't think there's an 1080p rips of these yet. Because the DVDs obviously were probably from a 720 or 1080 source. But...
Season 1 was remastered. Season 1 was remastered for the DVD release. I know that much.
Okay.
Which explains why it's higher quality. By the time we get to like around season 5, CBS was just basically just shoving these out with music edits because they just wanted to get the series out the door. You'll notice a difference in quality in the releases as we go on, sadly.
Interesting.
But I don't know if it's an HD situation. I don't know if it's a music rights situation. If it's a music rights situation, it can't be that bad. Because Happy Days is on CBS's little app.
Yeah.
It's on their platform. In its entirety.
I would assume most of the same because I mean, God, like most of the music that exists in the world in popular music is owned by only 3 different companies at this point. So you would, especially stuff from the 50s and 60s. Yeah. So you'd figure that they just have to go to one company and then just go across the street to the other and make a deal, man. I don't know why it's suddenly starting to sound like a Peter Lorre version of Jack Nicholson.
I was going to say, why are you suddenly Peter Lorre? Literally what I was just about to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not throwing us a bone on this. I don't know if Mork and Mindy is available. I know Happy Days definitely is. But Laverne Shirley is nowhere right now. Nowhere except for Logo and DVDs. So buy those DVDs, convince them that we want this. Give them a little, hey, we're out here. We're an audience. We're interested. And maybe we'll get it on streaming somewhere. That's my goal. Get the show on streaming. Yeah.
Yes, get the show on streaming. And you out there we're passing the buck to you because we're too busy doing these episodes.
I bought my DVDs. I watched this on Logo all the time. I am one of like 5 people watching this on Logo in the wee hours of the morning, live tweeting the crap out of it. So, come on, audience. Come on, guys. Come on. Throw your weight on in.
Don't put your weight on it. All right. Anyway, well, thanks again for joining us, everybody. I guess we'll do the social media shout outs. I guess make sure to find us out there on the Twitters and the Face of All Books and the Tumblin' Tumblers. And yeah, we still got that Patreon. Make sure to throw us some shekels if you're feeling inclined, and we'll be having some incentives and stuff. I think I guess in the future. And
I've got some good ideas for that. I've got like 3 or 4 good ideas for that. So which I haven't even told Chris about yet. That's coming. But I've got a few ideas, and we will indeed make it worth your while.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the main thing is, we enjoy doing the show. Episodes like this are why we love doing this, and yeah. So thanks again for joining us. Is anything? I think I'm good. Is all I kind of need to say. Oh, that's right. The places to find us. The Twitter is night aft. It's night aft night PC, and then on Facebook it's Night After Night Pod, and actually it's Night After Night Pod for most social media platforms.
Everywhere. We're everywhere on every social media platform as Night After Night Pod, except for Twitter, because Twitter hates complete words, and that's why we're Night After Night PC on Twitter. But
yep,
there you go. Come find us.
Yeah, but please, we ask you stop blowing up our bathroom. It's a bit messy.
And you can send us questions or comments at nightafternightpod@gmail.com.
Send us that good mail through the Gmail.
Yes, come, speak to us. Thank you.